Thank you for watching Eastern Volleyball Network. As I'm sure you all may have heard, it's been a while. Bringing you a prediction video here for our Captain Bills tournament tomorrow. We've got a nice little 18-team tournament. Gonna go ahead and run through the bracket for y'all real quick. So first match of the day, we've got John Brady and Luke Johnson against Kai Dunstan, Cameron McNamara. John, Brady, and Luke are both from South Carolina. John is kind of, when you think of a kind of a right side defender, that's kind of John's game. He likes to hit a lot of high lines, likes to hit a lot of cut shots. He can swing too. Luke is apparently a younger guy who's on the larger side and very athletic. And they're playing against Kai Dunstan, Cameron McNamara. Kai Dunstan, the pride of NC State's club volleyball team. I'm not sure who Cameron McNamara is, but for this 16-17 matchup, I got to go with John Brady and Luke Johnson. Maybe a little underseeded there. We'll see. For our other round of 17 game, the play-in game, we have Ryan Molsteff, Corey Kohlberg at the 15 against Brooks Cowart and Jackson Newcomb. I'm going with the boys here. Ryan Molsteff, Corey Kohlberg, training partners with myself in Raleigh. I don't know much about Brooks and Jackson, but except for the fact that they're going to lose this match. That's all I know. So Ryan and Corey, congratulations, moving on in spite of their best efforts to potentially throw this match. Round of 16, Angel Dashe, Kevin Knight against John Brady, Luke Johnson. First and foremost, welcome back to Kevin Knight. Welcome back to the area. Moved down to Florida. Really appreciate him taking the time from his trip up here for his birthday and to spend time with his long-distance sweetheart to play a random Captain Bills with us. That's the Kevin we know and love and miss. And they're going to go ahead and beat John Brady and Luke Johnson here. Next, the 8 versus the 9, Dallas Hitchens and Parker Beam against Connor Cadnar and Finn Murphy. Dallas, I believe, is 16 or 17 years old, and he's pretty solid. Parker's a little older, maybe like 25, 26. Lefty, probably like 5'10". Connor and Finn are some juniors. They're 15, 16. And I think Dallas and Parker are just a stronger team here. Connor and Finn kind of have moments of doing really good things that then get mixed in with kind of the inconsistency of youth, we'll call it. So I think Dallas and Parker are going to win that one. Next, we've got Graham Wren, Brian Dirks, myself, against Giora Sella and Hayden Aubrandt. I don't know who Hayden is. Guy making what may be his first appearance of the season. Maybe he played one of the earlier ones. I can't remember. Brian out of Myrtle Beach, everyone's favorite dad on the volleyball court. And I think he and I are going to go ahead and take this one. That was the 5 versus the 12. Next, at the 4 versus the 13, we have Josh Lanier, Ryan Ludwig against Jackson Torrens and Brett McMillan. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this one. Brett is a relatively athletic guy out of Wilmington, North Carolina, and I believe Jackson is out of North Carolina as well. Brett, best known for being Colton's roommate, I believe. I remember Colton talking about how he, one of the rare times he went all the way up to Virginia Beach to play, and he went all that way to play his roommate, which is pretty great. Josh Lanier out of Raleigh, North Carolina, proud owner of Empowered Beach Boys Volleyball Club. Believe he runs their social media account as well, so give that a look. Ryan Ludwig out of Virginia Beach, very solid player, very, very good ball control. He's got all the shots. He can get up and swing pretty well too. Josh will be full-time blocking for that team. And even though Jackson and Brett have had some good finishes at Wilmington earlier this year and do some decent things, I think Josh and Ryan will take this one. Next, at the 3 versus the 14, in what is for sure the landmine match of this opening round, we have Larry Selewski, Mitch McDowell against Sean Yoder and John Valeris. Now, for those who don't know, Larry is our tournament director, who apparently does not care about our sleep schedule this time with this 7:45 brutal start. Mitch McDowell is a Wilmington local, I believe bartends at the Sea Witch, well known as a very scrappy, athletic defender who, hits the ball pretty hard, has all the shots. Sean Yoder, currently living in Virginia Beach, he's been all over. One of the when you talk about someone who really enjoys kind of studying the game, and really appreciates analyzing volleyball in all of its forms, someone I've really enjoyed kind of workshopping different things with over the years. I've spent significant amounts of my life training with Sean, and he was actually the first person who kind of showed me the ropes on the beach. And he's playing with John Valeris, who's a college club teammate of mine. 6'5" outside, very springy, pretty good passer. A little raw on the beach side of things, but it's more than anything, I'd say it's the only place it really shows at times is his setting. John, and when it shows, he tends to just because he doesn't play much beach either. He just kind of decides I feel like playing a beach tournament this weekend, and comes out and embarrasses a good number of people. So this really is a landmine match in my mind. And I think Sean and John have played before. They played the AVP Virginia Beach last year together, managed to get a win over somebody in the first round of that qualifier, and then got to play, I think, Nolan and Tomas. So all evidence there that they're going to put up a really good fight too. So I really went back and forth on who I wanted to pick for this match, but I think especially match one of the day, I like Larry and Mitch to take it. I think because it's the first match of the day, a little bit of the maybe non-beach inconsistencies will show for John, and both Larry and Mitch pass consistently enough, set consistently enough that it really is you're not really going to run away from them 2 games in a row, and they're going to do a decent job of punishing little mistakes, and especially first match of the day, I think Sean and John will be a little more prone to those. I think it's a really, really tight matchup, and I'd expect it to go 3, but I do think that Larry and Mitch will win. Next, we've got August Britton, Garrett Big at the 6 against Lee Reitzel and Jason Bolin at the 11. I expect the kids, August and Garrett, to win. Lee's on. I think Lee and Jason are both on the older side. They're in great shape, but definitely kind of more out here for the exercise and to play a little bit of ball. So I give August and Garrett that match. Next at the 7 versus the 10, John Wynn, Matt Hopcroft against Caleb Williams, Nate Knickerbocker. So John is out of the Raleigh area. Matt Hopcroft out of Wilmington plays just as much, if not more, AA at Captain Bill's than he does Open. Usually wins the AA. So it's good to see him moving up. He's probably 6'2" and a fairly athletic guy. Caleb Williams, Nate Knickerbocker, 2 juniors. I know Nate's out of Richmond. I don't know where Caleb's from, but they play together a fair amount. And I kind of like Caleb and Nate to win this one. I think John Wynn is probably the most consistent player on the court and probably the best player on the court. But I'm curious to see if Matt is able to kind of keep up with that's not the right word. Not keep up, but kind of see if Matt is able to side out well enough and to block well, and he's probably going to be asked to block for John too. So it's kind of is Matt going to be able to side out well enough and create opportunities for John and capitalize on situations well enough for John to beat Caleb and Nate? I'm not sure if he will or not. Caleb and Nate also both do a pretty good job serving too. So I'm going to go with Caleb and Nate probably in 3. Next, at the 2 versus the 15, we've got Spencer Gaston, Misha Freistater against Ryan Molsteff, Corey Kohlberg. Misha I think is just going to relatively run away with this match. Probably 21-15 both games in 2. Quick aside, this is way harder to do by yourself as I'm finding myself running out of breath monologuing, but bear with me. Angel, Kevin against Dallas and Parker, round of 8. Angel and Kevin pretty convincingly in 2 here. Next, and now we get to the point where some of my matches are not necessarily clear cut, so we have to resort to, especially because I'm by myself, I am resorting to flipping a coin here. We have Graham and Brian against Josh Lanier and Ryan Ludwig. So heads will be me and Brian, tails Josh and Ryan. So heads it'll be me and Brian, tails it'll be Josh and Ryan. All right. One more time. Heads, it'll be me and Brian. Tails, Josh and Ryan. All right, so I think myself and Brian Dirks are going to win this match, so we're going to go forward. All right, next we have Larry Selefsky, Mitch McDowell at the 3 seed against August Britton and Garrett Big at the 6th. I think Larry and Mitch are going to win this match pretty heftily. I think Larry and Mitch both play against August and Garrett a fair amount. They know exactly what to expect. I think August and Garrett are going to have trouble scoring points, and I think Larry and Mitch are going to be able to score a fair amount. Caleb and Nate against Spencer and Misha. Spencer and Misha handily, I think. I think Misha's size at the net combined with Spencer's consistency behind him, it'll just be too much for the kids. So next, round of 4, Angel Dashe, Kevin Knight against Graham Wren, Brian Dirks. I think we'll give them a real good fight, but we're going to go ahead and put Angel and Kevin through on this round. Next, we've got Larry Selefsky, Mitch McDowell against Spencer and Misha. Winner goes on to the semi. And I've got Spencer and Misha here because I think Misha is the best player at the net out of the 4 players on this court. Spencer's been playing some really good ball, going down to Florida a fair amount. So I kind of just think Spencer and Misha are the better team of the 2. So with that, our 2 people in the semifinals waiting for the losers bracket are Angel and Kevin, Spencer and Misha, top 2 seeds. So now moving down to losers bracket. In one 17th place game, we have Ryan Molsteff, Corey Kohlberg against Kai Dunstan and Cameron McNamara. I would really, really love to see Kai make a splash here, but I do think that Ryan and Corey will take it. And I think more than anything, it just kind of has more to do with, for me, unknowns surrounding Cameron. I don't really know his game. I haven't really seen him play much, so I'm going to go ahead and go with what I know here. We're going to pick Ryan and Corey. The other 17, John Brady, Luke Johnson against Brooks Cohort, Jackson Newcomb. I like John Brady's experience with Luke's athleticism over these other 2 guys, I think relatively handily. 13th place matches, Ryan Molsteff, Corey Kohlberg against John Wynn, Matt Hopcroft. So we've got 3 Raleigh boys and then Matt Hopcroft out of Wilmington. So things could get a little spicy. This is actually the 2nd tournament in a row where Corey has played John. And I think I like Corey to continue his win streak here. So I think Corey and Ryan will beat John and Matt. All right, next we've got Lee Reitzel, Jason Bolin against Sean Yoder, John Valeris. I like Sean and John to roll here. Jackson Torrens, Brett McMillan against Guy and Hayden. I like Jackson and Brett to go ahead and win here. They've been playing some pretty good ball, and they've been doing some athletic things on the court, passing pretty decently too. I think this is their opportunity to go ahead and get a win here. Connor Cadnar, Finn Murphy against John Brady, Luke Johnson. Kind of the same story as the last round. I like John's experience and Luke's athleticism over Connor and Finn. 9th place match, and this is where things get interesting. We've got Ryan Molsteff, Corey Kohlberg against Josh Lanier, Ryan Ludwig. And for me, I don't know if I'm just looking at the bracket here. I'm looking at Ryan and Corey's path and just wondering, like, it's just so spicy. Why is it so spicy? They had John win last round. They've got Josh Lanier and Ryan Ludwig this round. And it's kind of a toss up because I think Ryan and Corey have really good chemistry, but I really like Ryan Ludwig's defense, especially getting to play full-time defense behind a blocker. So I think I'm going to go with Josh Lanier and Ryan Ludwig here, but it's kind of like I'm going to close my eyes, plug my nose, and kind of look away as I pick Josh and Ryan. It really could go anyway, especially games to 15. Next, we have Sean Yoder, John Valeris against Dallas Hitchens, Parker Beam. I like Sean's consistency and John's size a ton here. Look for them to go ahead and beat Dallas and Parker, I think, relatively easily. Next, we've got Jackson Brett against Caleb and Nate, and I honestly have no freaking clue who's going to win this match. I think Jackson, and they may have played at one of the earlier bills. And I know Jackson and Brett had a strong performance there, so I guess I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with Jackson and Brett, but I, again, don't feel great about this pick. I think Caleb and Nate could just as easily come out and win this match. All right, next we've got John Brady, Luke Johnson against August and Garrett. And I like John and Luke to go ahead and beat August and Garrett here. I think it could be close. Talking with John, he thinks highly of Luke. Luke hasn't played a ton of open level tournaments yet, but he's kind of a young guy and he's been getting a lot better. And I also know from experience playing with Misha, playing with Dirks, etc. I've seen big guys give August and Garrett a lot of trouble at the net, and then you combine that with a defender in John Brady who's not going to give away a ton of points. He's gonna punish kind of okay offense and telegraph shots and kind of tentative stuff. I like John and Luke to go ahead and win this match. 7th place, we now have Josh Lanier, Ryan Ludwig against Sean Yoder, John Valeris. Another just super spicy losers round match. So the way that I'm gonna break this down is both Sean and Ryan are in a lot of ways very similar players. They're both kind of around the 5'10"-ish size, both fairly athletic, both have really good ball control, both set really well. So there's a lot of similarities between their games. Sean's been doing some really cool stuff. I don't know if it's his first win, but he won a tournament in Virginia Beach a couple weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago with Pat Cronshaw. Sean's playing some of the best ball he's ever played. Ryan had a really strong performance down in Myrtle Beach with Luke Parks. Took out Devin Decker and Andrew McMurray, and then took Angel and Pat to 3. So, Ryan's playing some really good ball too, so I kind of feel like they cancel each other out. And from my experience, I think John Valeris will do a very good job of kind of neutralizing Josh because John and I played Josh and Brian at a Captain Bill's tournament, and John was just too much for Josh to handle physically. So I think John and Sean will go ahead and win that match. All right, next we've got Jackson and Brett against John Brady and Luke Johnson. And for me, this is where the kids' run ends. And I like John Brady, Luke Johnson to go ahead and move on here. Fifth place match, Sean Yoder, John Valeris against Larry Silevsky, Mitch McDowell. I went with Larry and Mitch at the beginning. I think Sean and John will have found their groove here. And Larry's format of losers matches to 15 will come back to bite him here, because I think John will still be relatively good to go, not super exhausted. And I like Sean and John to go ahead and avenge their earlier loss and move on to the semis. And then on the other side, we've got John Brady, Luke Johnson against myself and Brian Dirks. So I'll go ahead and flip a coin for this one. Heads is me, tails is John Brady, and it's heads. So I'm moving on to the semis. For what it's worth also, I played John last Captain Bills, lost to him in a very tight 3-set match, but he was playing with Kyle Grammett, who is extremely experienced, very skilled, larger blocker for John. John now has a little bit of a less experienced large guy with him. And then conversely for myself, I was playing with Francis, who does a lot of good things but is also kind of moving up the ladder on the experience side of things. And this time I've got Brian, who's just been a steady high performer for probably 30 years at this point. So kind of in a way, the experience level of our blocking partners has flip-flopped. And I almost got him last time. So I think I'm going to get him this time. So, semifinal number 1, Angel Dashe against Angel and Kevin, against Sean and John. And this is where I think the road ends for Sean and John. I think the serving pressure of Angel and Kevin for Sean and John, who've been going pretty much nonstop without much rest, ends up being just a little too much. And Angel and Kevin will move on to the finals with a strong showing from Sean and John. Next, we've got Spencer and Misha against myself and Brian. And I think this will be a super interesting match. It's going to be a very interesting match. Misha and I play against each other all the time in training. Spencer's been playing really good ball. Brian's a great player. I'll go ahead and flip one more time. Heads is me, tails is Spencer and Misha, and Spencer and Misha get to move on. So Spencer and Misha in the finals against Angel and Kevin, and I think Angel and Kevin are just too consistent, too strong from the service line against Spencer and Misha. I don't really see how Spencer and Misha are going to get Kevin and Angel, and I guess more accurately, are going to get Kevin out of system enough to the point where they're going to be able to score on Kevin consistently enough to win. And frankly, I think Angel doesn't lose at Captain Bill's often, and he's coming off a loss to Misha at Captain Bill's, so I think he's going to be particularly motivated in this instance not to let it happen again. So I like Angel and Kevin to go ahead and win this final. All right, that kind of wraps up the prediction video. As always, if you disagree with me about your match in particular and would like to place a wager with myself, I'm always down for a beer bet. Come find me, but you got to find me before your match starts, not after. So yeah, I also already know that there will be a beer bet with Ryan Ludwig over our match, and that will probably be worth 2 beers. and not one, because Ryan is down to double down on something like that, and I conversely know that Josh Lanier will not be betting any beer on that match. So looking forward to that. If you disagree with anything else I did, reach out to me. More than happy to have a friendly little wager over what I called. Thanks for watching Eastern Volleyball Network, and hopefully see you there.